Hello, good evening. My name is Catherine and from SEB Housing, and tonight we're going to run the lottery for the 25 affordable rental units at Norton Links in Norton, Massachusetts. So I'm going to get the lottery underway in just a few moments. Before I do that, just want to go through some logistics and then also let you know the lottery pool that we received for this lottery. So if you have any questions during the meeting, you're encouraged to either type them into the chat function in Zoom. You were muted when you came into the meeting, as you heard. And the reason for that is just to minimize outside noise, but go ahead and feel free to unmute yourself as well if you have a question that you'd rather verbalize. So the meeting is being recorded. It's going to be saved to SEB Housing's YouTube channel after the meeting tonight for anybody who wasn't able to join who would like to. So first, just want to give you some background information on the lottery, how many applicants applied. All of this information is going to be given to you in an email later on tonight. So you will have that in writing as well. So all households, all applicants who were approved for this lottery should already have a lottery application number. It's in the form of A dot, a series of numbers. So in this case, it's between A.001 and A.054. If you don't have that, if you misplaced it, please let me know. Your name is not going to be called during the lottery, so you will need to have that number. So for the 25 total affordable units, we received 54 applications. So there's going to be 54 households in this lottery. There are 7 total studio apartments. There were a total of 11 completed applications for those studio apartments. 1 of those applicants has local preference. There's also 8 total 1-bedroom apartments, and there were 13 completed applications for those 1-bedrooms. 3 of the applicants for the 1-bedrooms qualify for local preference. And then of those 1-bedroom units, there is 1 unit that has disabled accessible features, and there was 1 person who indicated that they require those features. So households that require disabled accessible features will have priority for those accessible units. There's also 8 total 2-bedroom apartments. There was a total of 16 completed applications for those. 1 household qualifies for local preference. There are 2 people who qualify for a disabled accessible 2-bedroom unit. And then finally, there are 2 3-bedroom affordable apartments. There were a total of 23 applicants for those 3 bedrooms. 6 of the households qualify for local preference, and there was also a 3-bedroom disabled accessible apartment, and there was a total of 5 applicants for that unit. So back when you completed your application, you will have indicated, and we will have confirmed whether or not your household was a type 1, type 2, or type 3 household. And you want to keep in mind that for the 2-bedroom waiting list, type 2 households are going to have priority over type 1 households in the lottery and are on the waiting list. And for the 3-bedroom unit, type 3 households are going to have priority for that lottery. So basically, the larger or the more occupants you have in your household, the larger bedroom size you will have priority for. So that's because the program, the Affordable Housing Program, is designed so that households don't have priority for units with more bedrooms than their family actually may require. So I mentioned local preference. There are several affordable units that have local preference or priority. If you answered yes on your application for the local preference question, your lottery eligibility email will have indicated that. So, you haven't needed to verify that at this point, but you will after the lottery if you're moving forward in the process. So there's going to be 2 lottery drawings tonight. I'm going to be using the website random.org to complete the drawings. I will screen share so you can see it. I'm also going to do an example so you can see what it looks like before I do the actual drawing. The first drawing is going to be the local preference drawing, and that's going to include the households who indicated that they either live in Norton or work full-time within the town. I'm going to insert the lottery application numbers for the 10 local preference households into what's called a list randomizer function on random.org, and then the website is going to digitally generate a random order. We're doing it this way to try to keep it as truly random as possible, rather than grabbing, dozens of numbers from a box. This will be done instantaneously and you'll be able to see it. After the local preference drawing, I will insert the application numbers for all 54 lottery applicants into random.org. And again, a random order will come up. That is not the waiting list though. So this is just one step in the process. I still need to sort the results after tonight to be able to share the waiting list with you. But just so you know how this is going to go, I want to show you what random.org looks like, just so you have an idea of what the drawing in just a few moments is going to look like. This is not going to be the drawing, just keep in mind. I'm going to share my screen. You should be able to see it now. So this is the website, random.org. It just is a nice tool to be able to randomize numbers and things. So I'm going to go down to list randomizer. When I actually do the drawing, it's going to have all of the application numbers like A.001, etc. Right now, I'm just going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when I click randomize, it's going to create a random order for those numbers. So I'm going to click randomize. And as you can see, that's the random order that it spit back out. When the drawing takes place in just a few moments, it's going to be the same setup there. You'll be able to see it in real time. I'm going to grab the results, put them into a spreadsheet that I have to make sure that everything is saved, and we'll go from there. So just wanted to give you an idea of what it will look like. Again, when you're not going to know where you fall on the waiting list during this call tonight, but I plan to sort the results tonight, and you will get an email from info@sebhousing.com. And in that email, there's going to be information about the lottery, and then also the waiting lists are going to be attached. So you will know soon where you fall on the waiting list, but you will not be able to really tell much from this lottery tonight. And that's because I still need to sort based on priorities. So household type, local preference, whether or not households require the disabled accessible units, etc. So like I said, a copy of those waiting lists is going to come to you tonight. And when you get that email, you're going to notice, you're going to find your lottery application number on the waiting list. So if you apply for both a studio and a 1-bedroom, your number is going to be listed on both of those waiting lists. If you only applied for 1 unit size, your number will only be listed on 1 waiting list. So you're going to take a look at those. If your number is highlighted in green, that is because you have been selected to immediately move forward in the next step in the process, which is to complete a lease application with the management or leasing office over at Norton Links. So your contact information after tonight will be shared with the leasing office. You'll also have their information after tonight, so you can contact them to move on to that next step of the lease screening. So keep in mind, if you're not highlighted in green, that means you're not going to be moving forward right away after tonight. But what will likely happen is applicants ahead of you on the waiting list will drop off. There's going to be people who are no longer interested. There's going to be people who don't respond, and maybe people who don't pass the lease screening. So if you're not highlighted in green on the waiting list tonight, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to move forward to the next step in the process to be able to eventually rent one of these units. Okay, so if you're found lease eligible, and you're one of those top households on the waiting list, you're going to have the first chance to select and reserve an apartment. And, that's when obviously it's great to be one of the top households, because you get to be able to choose, you get a chance to choose from all of the available apartments. And so again, it's important to keep in mind, SEB Housing, we have only completed your initial program screening. You haven't supplied us with any of your income, asset, and tax documentation. That's not needed until after the lottery. So just keep in mind that there's still a few steps in the process that need to happen. So you don't want to give notice to your current property owner, for example, if you find out today that you are at the top of the waiting list, because you still have to be lease approved and then have your final affordable housing program eligibility approval when you submit all of your income information. And if you're lease approved by the leasing office, you'll then have about 10 days to supply all of your information to SEB Housing so we can verify your income and that sort of thing. And we'll work with you. There's a lot of information that needs to come in. So if you don't get everything into us right away, we will make sure that you do. The affordable units at Norton Links, they're scheduled to be available for occupancy around October 1st. However, the leasing office does plan to pre-lease those units beginning in mid-June. So just a few weeks from now, they do plan to start signing leases for October, or at least pre-qualifying you. So the date on your lease might not be until October 1st, but you will be moving forward in the process quite soon. And then finally, before the drawings, just a final reminder, if you do end up leasing one of these affordable apartments or any affordable apartment, you will need to recertify your income every year with the leasing office. So we always just remind everyone to sort of keep a folder, of your updated pay stubs, your tax returns, that sort of thing. So you have all of that information handy when the time comes to recertify. All right, so before the drawing, let me just get everything set up here. I see there's a question in the chat. Are utilities included, and is there a playground for children? Playground, I am not sure about. Let me see if we have that information. I do believe utilities are included for this property. Just going to check the information packet really quickly. Yep, cost of all utilities is included. And there's also access to a free parking space. I don't believe, I'm going to check one more place here, but I don't believe I have information on a playground. That's not something we normally ask about. And if they didn't, if the developer didn't offer that information, I'm assuming not. For amenities listed, we have luxury coffee bar, secure Amazon package center in the lobby, 24-hour fitness center, in-unit laundry, private patio or balcony, valet trash service that picks up 5 days a week. But no, I don't see anything here about a playground. Anyone else before I start the drawing? All right, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to go to random.org here, and I'm going to pull up, make sure I have all of the lottery application numbers here. So I'm going to share my screen again.
Come on. Yeah, I know. I can hear.
Do you have a question? All right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, so the first drawing, like I said, what I'm going to do is I am going to do the drawing for the local preference households. So these numbers over here are the 10 households who indicated that they have local preference because they either live or work full-time in Norton. So I'm going to copy and paste all of these numbers and put them into the list randomizer function. And I'm going to get the random order. And this is the lottery drawing for Norton Links in Norton, Massachusetts for the local preference drawing. So I'm going to click randomize. And this is the number for local preference households. Now keep in mind that local preference households are also going to be drawn in the general drawing. because this local preference, one second here. The local preference order is only applicable to waiting lists that have local preference. So just give me 1 second here to move this data around a bit. Okay, so I'm going to save this. This is the local preference drawing results. So I'll stay on that for just a second. If you have local preference, you should be able to see your number on the screen right now. I'm going to maximize it just a little bit so you can see. And then I'm going to move on to the general drawing, which is going to include all 54 households. And again, everyone in the lottery, including local preference households, is going to have a placement on the general drawing list. And I used both of these results to compile the waiting list for Norton Links. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to do the general drawing. I'm going to completely X out of the list randomizer just so I can get a fresh start here. And these are the 54 numbers that represent every applicant for Norton Links. So I'm going to, again, copy and paste all 54 numbers here and put them into the list randomizer. See, all the numbers are here. I'm going to click randomize. This is the drawing for the general drawing, so every household for Norton Links. You'll be able to see your number in just a moment. I'm going to copy and paste these onto the sheet here, so it's a little bit easier to see on the screen. And I'll scroll so you're able to view it. I'm going to hide this so it doesn't confuse anyone. And these are the results for the general drawing for Norton Links. So I'm going to stay on this screen for just a moment, and I'm going to scroll down so that all 54 numbers are visible. So as you can see here, the number that was drawn first in the general drawing was A.042, and then it goes down from there. I'm going to scroll down a bit. This is your placement number, and then this is the lottery number. Again, this is not the waiting list, though, because I still need to sort these results onto the waiting list. So if you're drawn early in these lists, great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be at the top of any of the waiting lists, because you know, there's a lot of different factors that we need to take into consideration when we're doing the sorting. Mostly, you know, well, there's 3 different factors. The first being household type. So the first person on this general drawing list, if they didn't apply for the same unit size that you did, they're not going to be on that waiting list. So you could be higher or lower than what you're seeing in terms of your placement on the drawing list. So again, it's not telling you a whole lot, but you can at least see the results of the drawings, and then you will get the waiting lists in the mail or in your email later on tonight when I finish the sorting. Can anyone not see their number? Have any questions? I think E. Robinson, it shows that you have your hand up. If you want to ask a question, you can either unmute yourself or type it into the chat.
Hi.
Great.
Yes, I was asking a question. Earlier you said that the property, I just want to make sure I heard you right, the property won't be ready for another year?
No, the property will be ready they'll be start pre-leasing in June for October 1st lease date.
Leasing.
So about 4 months from now, 4.5 months, a little bit over 4 months.
And if somebody's on the waiting list, but they sign a lease for another housing, would they be taken off the list, or would they be placed lower in the list to keep that consideration?
So if you sign a lease somewhere else, you would just want to let them know that you're no longer interested in the unit here. What they're going to do is, if the leasing office is screening a household after you've been lease screened and you've been approved by SEB Housing, you're going to have the opportunity to reserve an apartment. If you reserve an apartment and then decide not to lease it, you would just work that out with the leasing office, but you will need to let them know before October if you're interested.
Before October, okay, because what I was saying was the opposite, like while we're waiting for a place, you get what I mean? Because I don't know how long, you're going through a whole list of people, of each of us through the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Do
So
you
the
think
waiting
they'll
lists are
get
going to be
through?
generated tonight, and then the leasing office will be contacting everyone.
Oh, so this will happen in less than a year. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking that you're saying that, like, it depends where you are on the list, that it could be a year or more depending on where you are on the list. That's what I was
No,
thinking.
so these units are going to be leased for October 1st, which is 4 months away. So
Thank you for
nothing
your
should be
clarification.
bleeding into
Okay.
2025.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Another hand is up, I think. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, so thank you. I would like to know, what is the difference of price from the affordable and the regular house, apartment?
The market rate unit.
Yes,
Okay. I have their original. Sorry, I can't move that. I have their original estimates at the property of their market units, but I don't know if those are still accurate because they give us those figures at the beginning of us working with them, but I can see what they were going to be.
okay. And I have another question after.
Sure. Good. You can go with the second one. I'm just going to look up this document that it might be on.
So for the lottery, what are you guys based on to determine how much the person have to pay?
Well, so the rents are set. Is that what you mean? The rents are set. So this isn't like a housing voucher in terms of a certain percentage of income.
Okay, so what's the advantage of being in the lottery?
So the lottery is only open to households who qualify for the affordable housing program.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second. I don't think I have the market rate amount, but the leasing office would be able to tell you that information. But so being in the lottery, you're able to, and if you're qualified for the lottery, you end up qualifying for their lease screening, and you're eventually able to reserve one of the affordable apartments. You're basically having first access to the affordable apartments versus someone who might apply later down the line when most of the apartments are already taken. And only households who qualify for the affordable housing program are able to get into the lottery and lease these apartments. These apartments will never be leased to someone who has an income of more than 80% of the area median income.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Again, these are not the results. These are the results of the drawing, but these are not the waiting list. So I'm going to work on sorting these results into the waiting list tonight, and you will get an email from info@sebhousing.com with the waiting list attached. So you'll be able to see where you fall on the waiting list themselves. And yeah, before I start doing that, any other questions before I end the session? Thank you all for joining in and for the questions. You will be hearing from us. Like I said, the email will be coming from info@sebhousing.com. And if you have any questions once you get those results, please let us know.
Hi, I meant to ask too, once we accept the unit, will we be able to see it before signing? Will we be able to view it? I just wanted to. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, again, thanks so much, and we'll be in touch tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, have a good one.